Tell me, did being in show business that early, did it stunt your growth?
That's a short joke, isn't it? No. You know what it is? I cannot tell you, but it's frightening to be little and skinny all your life. I've never been taller and I've never been wider. And it's frustrating, you know, and all of my friends, everybody winds up looking at me like this, you know, and I'm always looking up at everybody. And I must say, I married, Altaviz and I have been married now for, in May it'll be 19 years. And my wife is, I think she's 5'9". That's without heels, right? So it's this. Honey, I want to talk to you. It's ridiculous. You break yourself up. You know, nobody's going to believe you. Oh, sit down, you silly little person.
Now, you were in show business from that early stage, but from this autobiography, the second part of the autobiography,
yes,
which you call Why Me? Why do you call it Why Me?
Because I think, like most people in this world, that phrase is used both negatively and positively. In my case, in the beginning, it was very negative. Why me? Why do I have to have all these problems? Why don't I have all... Why can't I go? Why? And you're looking up at the man or God or the fates or whatever up there, and you're always saying, why me, Lord? You know. And I think if you learn to live with yourself and you learn to live with your fellow man, I know that sounds terribly naive and all that jazz, but particularly in our day's society, you have to find ways to change that negative why me into, like last night's opening at the hall, and you walk off the stage and you go, thank you, Lord, why me?
Yeah. You had a lot of prejudice, which I hadn't been aware of until I read your book, particularly when you and your uncle and your dad went to play Las Vegas.
Oh, yes.
You play a hall in Vegas, or when it was beginning to expand as a great entertainment center.
Yes.
And you'd find that you couldn't stay in the hotel you were playing?
No, there was no staying. You couldn't eat in the hotel. And I'm not speaking about 1930 or even the 40s. I'm talking 50s. Every big black star that worked Las Vegas, that helped build it up, I'm speaking of Lena Horne, Nat King Cole, Billy Eckstein, the Mills Brothers, the people who helped not only that town, but our business, and contributed in such a way, and would pack the joint. We could not walk through the front. This is in Las Vegas, Nevada, and you could not eat in the restaurant. Forget gambling. There was no, you couldn't get up to a table. They wouldn't allow you in the casino. That's the truth.
So you performed, and then you had to go out the sideway.
Out the sideway,
down
and if
the
you
street
had...
to the ghetto. And
that was the only place. But there is mixed emotions about that. And I guess I had to live to be 63 years old to realize it. That by integration, we lost a great deal. We gained a great deal when everything started to integrate in terms of acceptance and this, that, and the other. But in that, what we call, quote, the ghetto, was all our culture. You understand what I'm saying? There was the colored barber shop, and I say colored because that was the terminology used in those days. There was the colored rooming house where we all stayed. There was community. And because we all suffered these indignities, it brought us, as black performers, closer together. And we shared experiences, and we hung out. Soon as it started to open up like this, and everybody could stay at the hotel they were working in, we very rarely saw each other anymore. And it's a shame. We lost that. It's too bad we couldn't have maintained a little better balance, you know?
You, according to the book, too, you came across, as I say, it comes as a surprise. I mean, we're all aware of the prejudices that existed. But when we see somebody like you perform, we assumed that you lived a charmed existence, that you didn't have to suffer the kind of things that the average black person had to suffer and still has to suffer in the States. Now, when you joined the Army at about 18, you joined an integrated unit.
Yes.
And you had more of it.
Well, I was only in the integrated unit for the first, I'd say the first 6 weeks. Then when I wanted to be in the Air Corps, and I thought because of my, again, this is when my size was going to work for me. I wanted to be an aerial gunner because, you know, they needed little guys to sit in the thing and and I pictured myself, you know, with the thing going, you know. I'll get the jetty, don't worry about it. Chalk one up for me, you know, all of that. I was a movie nut then as I am now. But I had never had any schooling. I never had, and I'm not proud of the following statement, but it's true, so I have to say it. I never had one day of formal education at all. Not one day of sitting with classmates. I'm talking about kindergarten, grade school, anything like that. But as long as it was, when they give you the forms, as long as it was true or false, I had it made. But when it said, explain, da-da-ba, I couldn't write. I couldn't write. And they called me. I was in the Air Corps gloriously for 3 weeks. And the captain called me in of my unit, and he said, Davis? And I said, yes, sir. He said, sit down. So I said, thank you, sir. I sat down. He said, we have a problem. He said, you passed most of your oral tests. He said, but we haven't got a written test on you. You haven't done one written test. And I said, well, sir, it's been that I've been... He said, son, you can't write, can you? Now, you know what my answer was? I started to cry because I had been nailed. And it was the first time I had ever been nailed by anyone. And I said, no, sir. He said, I wish there was something I could do for you. He said, but suppose, and then he gave me all the breakdown. Suppose there's a message comes over, you've got to take it, write it down, blah, blah, blah. And I saw it, and I said, well, sir, I love the Air Corps. He said, well, unfortunately, he said, we only have one black unit at this time in the Air Corps, and that's the 92nd. He said, and they had to go to Tuskegee, and which is a college, a black college, and graduate with the highest honors. He said, we can hardly put you in, you know, into that kind of a unit. So I said, where am I going to go, sir? He said, to the infantry. So I said, you mean you don't have to write nothing in the infantry? So I went to the infantry. And I went in the infantry, and everybody's this big, you know. And I was the little guy, sad sack. So they made me like the gopher. I had to go do everything for everybody. And because of that, I would get up at the service clubs and entertain. And then this was about 43, 44, and the edict came down to integrate all the troops. And that's when the pressure came, because you had Southerners, Northerners, Easterners, Westerners, all coming together, and the culture of the people was different, and it was quite horrific for me, because I had lived in a protected society. Show business was different. We all lived in show business hotels. We all went to show business restaurants, and we protected each other in vaudeville. We didn't know anything. I never, but to get exposed to it, and to be picked on, and not to be able to fight back. I didn't know how to fight back, because I had never been called these names before. But I found out later in life that it wasn't unusual. That was the modus operandi for most of the people most of the black people in America had to go through that. And I would imagine most of the world.
Well,